Hey everybody, let me see who's here. I see you all. Celia, Mr. Tony Anthony Jackson. Who's the lady in the middle?
Patricia.
Hey Patricia. Reverend Judith. And then there's some handsome character up there. I don't know who that is. Jimmy. The person with next to Patricia.
Shane.
Is that Shane? Okay. I can see most of you. Welcome to our Thursday night class. This is our self-healing class. It's based largely on Louise Hay's work from the book You Can Heal Your Life. And of course, her work comes largely from Ernest Holmes' work. Ernest was our founder of our teaching. Then Raymond Charles Barker was the founder of this particular center. This class has been taught now, it seems forever for me, since about a year or two after the book You Can Heal Your Life was written. I started teaching this material. Now we used to have, enough for 52 classes. Now I think we have about 55. We have more classes than you can imagine. But the message is simple. Tonight's lesson is a different one, and it's based upon a book that Ernest Holmes wrote in 1950, I believe, Aladdin's Touch, and it's about self-healing. What can I say? I want to welcome people. I forget this. We have people watching us on Instagram Live and Facebook Live and YouTube, and I'm trying to become aware that some of you will find us a month from now. So I want to welcome you to our community. If you like what you're hearing, there's more of it on our Facebook page, so you can listen and listen. We've got some really great short videos now, so you can get a condensed version of many of our classes, 5 minutes, and that might be of interest to you if you're new. Just poke around and see if it appeals to you. The best way to join us once you whet your appetite with these empowering messages is to contact us so you can be on a Zoom call like we are tonight, because then you'll have an opportunity to interact with one another, and you'll be with like-minded people who will grow to care about you as you will grow to care about them. So on with tonight's lesson. From downtown Manhattan on West 84th Street. So I already told you where the lesson came from. And it's a short little book. If you can find it, I'd recommend it. It's probably still available. And I told you about Ernest Holmes sending Dr. Barker here in 1949. So I'm moving through a few of my little notes. So we're going to compare mind and the way life works and spirit works with Aladdin's lamp. This was a wonderful little story. I'm going to ask you a question. It came to mind when I was putting the lesson together this week. Did you know, I'm looking at each of you, I see some of you I know already know the answer to this. Did you know that you were born a genius? And see, I'm looking at the people up there, and of course you all do, right? Did you know you were born a genius, Robert? I could look him square in the eye, right? It's tough for me to do that with all of you. And if I ask you, do you know, Anthony, Alan, Mr. Jackson, that you were born a genius? You don't have to answer it just yet. And when I ask that question, what comes up for you? All of you, any of you? Do you realize that you were born that? And this whole infinite world of billions of people that have come and gone, you are unique in all the universe, and you were born a genius. And when I first saw the question, I laughed. I thought, oh yeah, right, a genius, right? You've got to be kidding me. And some of you may do something like that too. So you remember the story of Aladdin and his lamp. And again, Ernest Holmes wrote a little book on it. And whenever Aladdin rubbed his lamp and he made a very deep wish, the genie would come out of the lamp. And there was a scripture, if I can say it right, and this is going back since my little catechism like, 5 decades ago or longer. There is a light that lighteth everyone's path. And the genie or the genius is definitely inside of you. It's there. And he added, if you put your light, though, you hide it under something, a bushel, right? Then no one can ever see it. You might even forget yourself that you got the light after a while. It was with you since the beginning, but boy, we can get away from that, right? If you're living in darkness, and if you're living in darkness long enough, you just don't know that it's there anymore. We do a lot of work at the center to correct that. We have our Q process where you discover who you've come here to be. We do lots of things, affirmative treatment, learning to live the affirmative life. But many people, I'd say lots of the people in the world, are living in a world of effect and darkness, and they're caught up in stories, and they're watching the news, and they're letting other people do their thinking for them. And when you were a child of wonder and joy, and you could express it so readily, so easily, naturally. So there is this thing that I had, and somewhere along the way, I must have forgotten some of it. We get socialized by well-intentioned people, right, who are wanting to protect us from the ways of the world, and it's good, and it also causes a lot of things to shut down. And as we become adults and we find a teaching like this, and all the people who'll be listening in the extended audience, there's something that's a part of you that's a genius and absolutely wonderful. It is this light, which you have a direct connection to it, and it's spirit, and it is the light of your life, even though you may not know that you have it. It's yours to use once you discover it. Life is so absolutely stacked for you. You just don't know it as of yet, some of you who may be listening. Life is full of spiritual energy everywhere. And most of all, the best thing to understand, it's everywhere, but it's in you. That's the point that we really try to get across here. You are, in fact, a genius, and you may not be aware of it anymore. Maybe you never knew. I remember a friend years ago saying, well, we need to be rehabilitated. It's like we need to be made whole again. And that may be true if you once knew, and maybe for some people you just have to be habilitated because maybe you never knew at all. Some of the faiths that some of us have emerged from would have told us that we were born in sin, original sin, and the kingdom, the hereafter, whatever they were trying to advance, would be denied us because we were sinners. And of course, we don't believe in any of that stuff here anymore. I mean, we might have, some of us, once upon a time. I've always loved Alan Cohen's saying that sin, S-I-N, stands for self-imposed nonsense. We are, in fact, amazing, and all the billions of people, again, you stand out as a gem that's unlike any other. You may not be aware of it anymore, and that's part of the function of this class, to let you know that you are that and you have power. And you might not be aware of it any more than Aladdin was when he discovered his lamp. The universe is absolutely filled with divine stuff, creative energy. Beyond anybody's comprehension, nobody can name it. There's no name that's good enough to call it. There's nobody that knows how to describe it. It's creative genius, it's creative activity, it's infinite activity. It's everything I say, and it's more than I could ever possibly express. And it pertains to each of us. Each of you and me, let me say, there's a genius again. It's hidden at the center of my life. And when I say my life, I'm suggesting your life as well, right? And you want to learn how, first of all, we got to discover it, and then we want to learn how to use it. If you go to our textbook, the first 4 chapters, I don't have them memorized in order, what it is, the thing itself, how it works, and that type of thing. So It's there. It's within us. We want to learn how to use it, learn how to have it work for us. So we begin by becoming aware of it, and then the trick is keeping it in the forefront of your mind, because we have these built-in forgetters. From Louise, one of the lyrics to one of the songs, remembering and forgetting. It's the game that everybody plays. If you stay plugged in and you stay in our classes and you show up on Sunday and you do a little bit of meditation, a little bit of affirmative prayer, you're apt to stay awake longer. But many of my students over the past 30 years, they come, they go, they come, they go. They disappear for a while and they come back and they say, oh, I wish I never left. Oh, I wish I stayed plugged in. But they do what they do. And look, guilty as charged, myself included. We practice it at the level of our own ability. The only suggestion I could ever give anybody is, if you are always hanging around the periphery and just got 1 foot half in, it's, you'll fall off. You may wake up, you may come back. So my suggestion is get involved. My great teachers used to say we have the ability to commune with the greatest minds that have ever lived. You can watch YouTube now. You can watch TED Talks. But it's really valuable to stay plugged into a class like this and learn to participate, which is the argument for really being in the Zoom call more than, I'm glad if you're watching us on Facebook or YouTube, because you're finding us, and that means you've got a divine appointment with the information. The next step up is to come in and say, hey, I want to be a member, I want to be a part of this, and it'd be really great if you can do that. Any longing that any of us have for something that's unexpressed within us, if there's a creative urge to, say, make some art or make some music or act or to sing or to do anything, write a book, if it's there and if it's real and it's pressing forward, it's some type of genius, some part of creative something within you that's longing to express itself. And that really is life's longing for itself by means of you or me. There's power in the universe, and this power is available to everyone. It's the power that brought everything into being. See, the universe doesn't work without you. The universe expresses through you. So your importance is unbelievable. And here we are, we walk around with our low self-esteem like we don't matter. But you matter. In the scheme of things, you're very important, and everyone is as well. And hopefully we're here learning to, have that light shine. Find it, and then polish it, and have it shine. So all the power there is, all the presence there is, we live and move and we have our being in this undivided thing, which resides in us. It's in everything, and it's at the very center of our beings. If you want to use this power, you have to believe it's actually there. And then you want to make yourself learn how to master it. Use it. Command it. See, these are big words. I remember I was younger and I was thinking, wow, I used to approach the Lord with fear and trembling. But this is a different idea. You're approaching the ocean of life with a sense of, I own this, I have this is a part of me, I'm one with this, I intend to demonstrate health, wealth, creative self-expression. I got this, you have this. See, that's a person that's very empowered if you could authentically say those things and believe those things. I'm not sitting around here waiting on anything. I'm coming from a place of conviction and self-reliance, and I'm going to state what we know to be true. And as long as you connect with the truth of your own words and you actually believe and feel what you're saying, watch out, because you're creating avenues in mind for the outpicturing of all of that. It was David Walker years ago who said in his classes, you need to put a demand on consciousness and create avenues in mind. So I want you guys to dust yourself off, reinvent yourselves, and I say, I got this, Dr. Ike used to say, you can't lose with the stuff we use. And of course he was colorful, and of course he was correct, but you got to believe it. And you want it, you have to want it, you have to believe it, and start to practice it. So all of this implies that you can actually think yourself into a mental position, which makes it possible for the power to flow through you and out into the things that you're involved in. For instance, if you wish to be successful, rub your lamp with the idea of success in everything you do. Doesn't matter what it is, but approach it like, I'm here, and everything you're doing is, God in action. And if you minimize what you're doing and saying it isn't important, then you're working against yourself. See yourself as a success. Remove ideas of fear and doubt, and connect yourself with the desire, and that you want to express life more fully, and know that you have the power to cause everything to move forward. If you say to yourself, these are Ernest Holmes' words now, there is one mind, one spirit. It guides, it directs, it causes me to know what to do and how to do it. That would be true, and that would be very powerful if you could believe it. And you will if you practice it. This mindset in connection to spirit is your Aladdin's lamp, and the thoughts and ideas that come to you will come to you when you rub it, when you invite it in. Or when you turn it on, if you turn it on with faith and conviction. You summon the genie or the awareness, and with that awareness, it will appear. The great genius of someone like Jesus and other great mystics lay in the fact that they're not afraid to trust the spirit within. And because they trust, they knew the connection. They believed, in the source, and they knew the source was in them. These are folks that had self-knowledge. We can imagine that it must have taken years of patient practice to come to that place where you can dare to command or master the elements, if you will. Each of you have the power to heal. And you say, heal what? I'll say heal anything. Potentially the power is within you to heal conditions of any and all kinds. There's much we can do. We can to directly impact healing, to bring forth wholeness, and just about any area that you can imagine. For those of us who came out of the Judeo-Christian system and studied Jesus, and at this point for me, other mystics over the years, they all approached life with a complete simplicity and a trust and an acceptance. If you are doing the affirmative work that we teach here, Ernest Holmes talked about, find me one person who's so redeemed from the bondage of self, who's not caught up in all this stuff, and they just have a contentment and a happiness and a joy. Find me one person like that, and I will find the Redeemer of my soul. So if you're living the affirmative life and you're committed to seeing the God, the good in all areas of your life, no matter when it doesn't look that way, but if your commitment is to see that good, if you're trying to demonstrate greater success or greater health, when you're contemplating wholeness and prosperity or anything, you want to try to accept in your own mind as being accomplished and feeling it and knowing it. That it's already done. This is the kind of faith that causes the genie in Aladdin's lamp to appear. This is the kind of faith that will bring forth the very things that you want. Throughout the past 30, 40 years, I think I've said, I can't count the number of times every day, I'm supplied and supported, I'm supplied and supported. The suggestion is use wonderful affirmations that mean something to you until you actually believe them. Jesus made a great contribution to the entire New Thought movement when he said a simple statement, which is, what I am doing, you can do also. You have a light within you that cannot be extinguished. Now, he plainly taught that there is one life, one power, one presence available to everyone. And I swear that's every mystic I've ever read about, and I've read about a lot of them. One light, one love, one power, one presence. Commune with that. It takes some meditation, and thinking about it, that I have this power within me. Perhaps imagination really is Aladdin's lamp. But Aladdin believed that when he rubbed his lamp, something would appear. The genie would spring into being for him and somehow do his bidding. Well, Aladdin was definitely a mythical figure, a character in a fairy story. And we read about him with delight because we feel, we kind of like sense, what would it be like if we were like Aladdin? And the thing is, one of the reasons it's so appealing is because we are like Aladdin. But we wish we could have a lamp we could rub, some device. I saw Shane here last week with his magic wand, right? Years ago when we were watching the movie The Secret, the big genie said, "Your wish is my command." Well, that's really how life is. The universal mind is always accepting whatever it is that you're putting into it. Aladdin was a mythical figure, appealing to our imagination, pleasing our fancy, delighting us with thoughts of limitless possibilities. Jesus and others were way-showers. They were not mythological figures. They were real people. And we cannot doubt that he and others were, great geniuses in human history. Some have called them avatars, great way-showers. For so long a time, we have thought of his teaching, for example, as being far away from our personal experience. Many coming out of the Judeo-Christian tradition, like I did, weren't aware of the deeper meanings of what he was teaching, when he said the kingdom of God is at hand. It is, it's here. Everything you could ever dream and want is right here and available to you now. Wholeness, health, prosperity, great relationships, friendships, it's all here. These characters all approached life with a complete simplicity and faith, and they did actually live. Jesus lived with a simple viewpoint. The Father, the Spirit, and he are one, or were one. That's really the great story for all of us. When we can remember that we are one and we're supplied and supported, you're coming right back like the prodigal child. You're joined in the kingdom again, remembering and forgetting. So that's the work. How do you do it? I remember being tickled when I was a kid in Miami Beach, watching the Krishna monks all day long, chanting Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Krishna. I think there were 6 words, all meaning God. And if you think about it, if you were contemplating the idea of this power all day long, you would be blissed out of your gourd too, just like they were. So if we live with the viewpoint like a mystic, like Jesus, or any of the mystics that we know of, that this presence, this power is in us and responding to us. If you can keep that in the forefront of your consciousness, you're going to heal all kinds of things. There's such a simplicity to Ernest Holmes and Louise Hay because they had this gift and they trusted in the complete, they trusted in it to demonstrate good and more good and more good. That's what a practitioner does. We practice seeing the good, the God. Each of these people, the mystics, be it Ernest or Louise or Emerson and all of them, had intimate relationships with spirit, an inward feeling of presence as a living reality, and it lived and moved and had its being in everything. And they had a complete conviction that they could commune with it, and more than that, they could command it. And see, that's a very different notion for those of you who are waiting on the Lord, right? You can actually put an intention out there, wave your wand or rub your lamp. It responds. So it is this simplicity that we approach the ocean of life with that Louise Hay spoke of. Ernest Holmes had, and every other mystic I have ever read, understood this underlying communion in this faith. And Ernest said, "I'm completely convinced that there is a power within you which you did not put there, that you can definitely use, a power for good that is available to every single person, and it's available to you right here, right now, today, where you are. Jesus did not say by and by, it'll happen in the future. The one thing that made the deepest impression as you think about Jesus on Holmes was that he believed in the actual active presence source in everyone's life, and that this power is always, always available to you. It's a presence that's real, it responds. So today in this lesson of healing, I say to you all, I dare you to summon it and begin to command it. I dare you to unite with it and know who you are and demand the good. Demand wholeness and health and creative self-expression. And so I'm going to ask you to get out your wand, Shane and others, right? Or your lamps if you prefer, or whatever you happen to be using. And summon all your powers. Rub it, wave it with faith and conviction. And speak your word with, there he is, and speak your word with gratitude and acknowledge the good and have acceptance. And do what you do with feeling and imagination. There is no need to have fear about any kind of outcome because it's all working together for the good. Your mind is but a conductor for a power that's always been here. If you open it up so you can become a clear channel, just get out of the way because things are going to start to happen. God help us when a thinker is let loose on the planet. Your light is borrowed from a universal light. The wick of your candle, of your lamp, runs deep in the oil of universal life. It draws its power from a limitless source of energy. It's all the power there is, and you're connected with all the power that there is. It's all the presence that there is, and you are connected with that as well. And it's all the life there is. You have it all. Some of you will remember that people used to trim oil lamps and polish them. The idea here is to, the lamps, have the globes, have your consciousness be cleaned up so you can shine more brightly. Keep your light trimmed, let it be laser focused and burning. Let your consciousness be clear and transparent so that the rays of light can shine out into the world and everything you're doing. But the light itself and the oil which furnishes its glow is something that life has already done for you. It might be the best kept secret in the world for many, but it's not the best kept secret for anybody in this room, in this call. You all have this light and it's burning in you right now. What you are to do is consciously connect with it. Invite it in. Keep inviting it in. However you want to do it, whatever affirmation you choose to use. The Father and I am one. The kingdom of God is at hand. I am one with the one. I am supplied and supported. However you want to do it, just do it. And keep doing it. So you can make the perfect impression because you are the perfect person unto your life. And you really want to be that person in your life. You want to be that person who can transform everything within you. And understand, it's not me, but the Spirit within who doeth the work. Robert Louis Stevenson, in closing, we've got a couple thoughts, wrote of his little mental brownies who do half of my work for me even when I am asleep, and in all human likelihood do the rest for me as well when I am wide awake. When you go to sleep, you can turn off all your ideas over to the genius within you. Rub your lamp of faith, your wands for a few moments, and go to sleep knowing that the genie within will appear when you awake in the morning, and there will be ever new ideas for you. Seize your new ideas with enthusiasm. Trust your instincts. Trust your intuition. Now, some people have called this whole exercise awakening the subconsciousness, and they're probably right. They say that there is something inside them through imagination that can be stimulated into action, can work out all our problems even while we are sleeping. Inventors, artists, mathematicians have all done this. The answers seem to come out of nowhere. It's because you're plugged in with all knowledge. We call this the workshop of the unconscious. I can conclude here just by saying to you, you have everything you have ever needed within you. And if you're seeking outside of you, you're looking the wrong place. You are an inlet and outlet of God consciousness. Everything that the universe has, you can tap right into it. You're standing on holy ground, and you are an inlet and outlet of it. And let's command it. Let's know we have it, and let it be so. And so ends tonight's lesson. Thank you. Okay, everybody. Nice to see you all back. Technology seems to be working well tonight. And I usually ask every Thursday, because we're learning to be mindful of our conversations, I usually ask what it's been like being you